You were on the show last week. I wasn't here, but you were here, and you picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, and you heard Jalen Hurts mention it. They played terrible last week. They lost to the Jets, the Eagles did. And despite that, you still picked them to win the Super Bowl, and they just took down one of the best teams in the AFC. Is this what you had in mind?
Yeah, Jay, when you look at this team and this roster, and the argument right now is, oh, they haven't been dominant in their wins this year. They haven't played anyone. Yeah, that's very, very true. But this team is loaded. They have so many great players. I mean, today you started the game off to Dallas Goedert. I think he had 70-plus in a TD. And if it's not Goddard, okay, we'll just go to Devonta Smith. If it's not Devonta Smith, we talked about it. It's A.J. Brown, who was incredible tonight. You talk about the run game. You got Swift. You saw Gainwell score today as well. Yeah. If it's 4th and 1, they've got a 99%er in the brotherly shove. So when I make these picks, I sit there and I think to myself, the foundation of this team is incredible. They just haven't put it all together. Even tonight, bad pick, bad fumble, and they still win by double digits against a good Miami team. This team is very, very good. In their weakest spot, which is their pass defense, is going to get Roby back and Blankenship, 2 of their starters, which should help the situation.
You said it. Good Miami team, but maybe not a great Miami team. They came into this one with the league's best offense. They led the league in yards per game by nearly 100 yards. A lot of people thought Mike McDaniel was a genius, and yet it seems like the Eagles kind of figured him out pretty quick in this one.
Yes, and there's a certain way right now to slow this offense down, and the Eagles did it perfectly. If you look at the 2 games they've lost to the Bills and now to the Eagles, it stopped the run, and that's exactly what happened tonight. There was a couple moments where Mostert got a few nice runs, but for the majority of the game, he was completely bottled up. You're looking at these plays. He's getting hit in the backfield, Jay. And what happens is everybody thinks that this, what do they call it, the greatest show on turf, is this high-flying, throw-the-ball 50 times a game offense, and that's simply not it. They've had games where they've rushed for 200 yards this year, and you see Tua, he's very good at the timing where he's kind of riding the wave of the running back, boom, gets the ball out. Well, you take that away and you make this team have to sling it around. It's not that they're bad, but they're nowhere near as dynamic as they have been in a few other games. Eagles stop the run, keep the points down, Eagles win the game.
I think the question that was asked of Josh Allen there was, what is wrong with the Bills' offense? Do you mind taking a crack at that one?
Jake, right now, I'll give it a shot, but you think of a good offense in this league. First and foremost, in the NFL, you need great players, which they have. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. James Cook, to me, is another electric guy. But now, you make bad mistakes. I mean, right here, first play of the game, you watch Jabril Peppers. It's a high-low concept. You've got a tight end underneath. Throw the flat. Throw the flat, and it's 2nd and 5. This is even crazier to me. Watch this here, Jay. Notice Stephon Diggs pointing here. Both of these highlighted players for New England are going to blitz. One is going to be unblocked. When you point, that means I am hot if he blitzes. I have to run a hot route. He blitzes. Josh Allen's ready to throw it here. You can see it. No one's looking. Boom. We take a sack. Both of these are in the first half. You're sitting here, and these are just 2 minor plays in the game. But it's play after play. I talk about details. I talk about executing. That last one there is a prime example where if teams just throw a little wrinkle at them, all of a sudden they can't get the details right, they can't execute, and Josh Allen is then forced to play hero-style football. And it's never a good recipe to rely on anyone, Josh Allen, whomever else, to consistently week in and week out make things up and extend. That should be a bonus. I come on here, I slam my hands against the desk every week. But for an NFL team to on that first play, come out and throw a brutal pick, and then later on not be able to pick up generic blitzes with hot routes where they seem to be on a pre-snap, it's just so frustrating to watch as a former offensive player who likes good offense.
Well, and now everyone's going to be talking about the Thursday nighter. They're taking on the Bucs. The wheels have sort of fallen off the Baker Mayfield train a little bit, so everyone's going to be licking their chops, with the Mafia. Should we be as confident that they're going to turn things around on Thursday?
Jay, I can't lie to you, man. I have no idea. I mean, on one hand, it's like a few weeks ago I saw this team play the Dolphins, and they were incredible. I thought it was the best they've ever executed. And then on the other hand, since then, it's just been a crazy amount of excuses. I mean, you think of the Jacksonville game. It was, okay, we flew to London, and they were already waiting there for us. Then you think of the Giants game that was very, very close. It was Brian Daboll knows the offense. What's the excuse today? The reality is this team is not playing up to their potential offensively. They have the players to do it. They have the personnel to do it. Why they're not doing it is beyond me. So what Bills team will show up on Thursday? I'm not sure. They play good football, they'll roll the Bucs right out of the building. They play bad football, they'll lose.
You said earlier in the week you liked the Lions in this matchup against Baltimore. These are a couple of your former teams. I know this is a tough one for you. Was this just a blip for the Lions?
Yeah, I think Lions fans are going to be surprised to hear me say this, but I would say yes, it is just a blip. First and foremost, I think matchup-wise, this is a brutal, brutal matchup when it comes to the way the Lions play versus the way the Ravens play. It's not a team they'd want to see, on a weekly basis. But that being said, what I thought happened to Detroit today, other than the fact that they couldn't stop Lamar Jackson from doing anything, was that they got in a big hole so early that it really killed the style of play Detroit likes playing. Detroit has this great offensive line. They want to come, they want to run the ball at you, wear you down, and then really start to widen the gap, the margin in the fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it was like you blinked an eye and they're down 14. And you make Jared Goff become a gunslinger. You turn this offense into, we've got to throw almost every play, which they can throw the ball, but it's not their bread and butter. So, again, it was kind of a snowball effect. Pretty much everything that happened to the Lions today couldn't have gotten any worse for the style of play. Again, they're more of an old school style play. And just being in the hole that quickly. So, do I think it was a bit of a reality check for the Lions? Yes.
Yep.
But am I super worried if I'm a Lions fan? No, I think they're still really much in control of the division.
So just to clarify, Watson clears concussion protocol, but Stefanski keeps him out, worried about the shoulder. He was cleared 2 weeks ago. He doesn't play until Sunday. What are you making of all this with Deshaun Watson? Because they're paying him a lot of money to not come in and play.
A lot of money, Jay.
Yeah.
It's one of the most strange situations I've seen in this league. I mean, like you said, a couple weeks ago, he's cleared to play.
Right.
And what makes it worse for me is that it's not like this is a bad football team. Coming into this game, their defense statistically was on a historical pace. And then he comes out here, he threw 5 passes today. 1 was a pick. This was his last pass, which, like you said, should have been a pick but was dropped there. I was worried about the head. And when you say you clear concussion protocol, Jay, in today's day and age, that is incredibly hard to do. You can't have even the slightest symptom or you are in the protocol.
Right.
So he basically reported that he felt 100%. So he clears concussion protocol, and my question is, his shoulder on something, like what happened? Is it the same shoulder that was cleared 3 weeks ago? And again, where my head goes is, I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. But this is a team that's going to be pushing for this division. The defense is very good. They gave us some points today. We made a ton of plays. We talked about Myles Garrett.
Jimmy Schwartz.
Yes. It's kind of wild. But I sit here and I think to myself, if you're in that huddle late in the year, you got a 2-minute drive, and you look up and the division's on the line or you're in the playoffs, is this the guy that's going to be frothing at the mouth, trying to do anything and everything he can to manage to get you in the field goal range and win this game? And do you have faith in that? And that is a real thing in this league, and he's going to have to make a lot of plays to kind of regain that kind of vibe with the locker room.
Travis Kelce doesn't have to make any more plays because he's made all the plays. And as you pointed out, you don't want him doing the thing over the head, but pretty much everything else was fantastic on Sunday.
He plays week in and week out at such a high level. It's unbelievable. And as a former tight end, I don't think we'll ever see somebody like this for a very, very long time. And he does it in so many different ways when he's catching the ball. I mean, you see the stuff over the middle. He's making big plays. He'll catch screens. I mean, like I said, I told the kids not to do it, but we've got a shovel pass where he reaches the ball over his head from 1.5 yards out and somehow gets pushed in without fumbling.
It's wild.
3rd and 2, third quarter, bam, you got another explosive play. He's got such a good feel for the game, and he's got such a great chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. He just knows exactly where to be. Time in and time out makes plays. I just wish he was dating someone else so we didn't have to see them every single minute on the television.
Well, and that's, all jokes aside, as much as they show Taylor, He's on SNL. He's at the after parties. The cameras are in his face.
He's a man.
He's doing podcasts with his brother in the middle of the week. He's going to Phillies games. And none of it affects his play on the field. Like, you could criticize him so much if it affected it just a little bit on the field, and yet he plays too well for you to criticize anything off the field.
I totally agree, but I do think he's pushing the envelope with this Argentina trip that's allegedly coming up. Okay. I think that might be a little far.